You might use a trust to put money or real estate into a place where it is protected against the future costs of your long-term care, or you might protect your money and property from creditors. You might even use a trust to leave money to children or other family members, but in a way that protects them from their creditors, from manipulation by certain people, or from other concerns that you would have for those people having an outright distribution of money. When you're gone, the trustee has to decide how to get the money or property into the hands of the people you have identified as your beneficiaries. I'm Patrick Cawley with Keystone Elder Law in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, and I've guided lots of families through exactly how that distribution to your children, grandchildren, etc. will happen. And the answer for how the money or property gets distributed really comes down to your family circumstances, and the trust should be written with what's called a distribution standard that fits your family circumstances. So I'll give you some examples. Let's say mom is planning in a way that will protect her own property in case she needs long-term care that's very expensive. So she's probably using an irrevocable Medicaid asset protection trust. In that trust, she's not only going to protect her own property, but it acts like a will in a sense, because she's going to say, when I'm gone, then I have the following children. I have 2 adult children and I have grandchildren, and this is how I want my money and property to be distributed from the trust to those people. Well, let's say mom has 1 adult child who's very successful in her career. There's no concerns about her having an outright distribution of money and handling that money. There's no concern about creditors of this adult child. So the distribution standard for that adult child would just be give the money that I have earmarked in the trust for that adult child outright and let them do whatever they want with it. So an outright distribution standard. But let's say the other adult child has a history of addiction or gambling issues, or just is terrible with money. Money comes in and they spend it right away. So the trust is nice because from the grave, mom can control how that money will be given to the second adult child who's not very good with managing money, or even has other concerns like addiction, where giving money outright could be very dangerous. And there we would use what's called the HEMS standard of distribution. HEMS stands for Health, Education, Maintenance, and Support. The health and education part, that's pretty clear. You can pay for medical or dental costs. You can pay for the health insurance premiums or dental insurance premiums. Education, well, you pay for any education or job training that the adult child might need. And the trustee is making those payments, not the adult child. So the money never goes first to the adult child. All of that money is being managed that way. Maintenance and support in the HEMS standard is a little more vague, but it allows for things like a vacation, a gift to a family member at a holiday or a birthday. It's generally to allow the person to have the comfort or lifestyle that they were accustomed to, and the money set aside from mom in the trust will be provided by the trustee to maintain that lifestyle. Let's say the grandchildren are just too young to be experienced with managing money. So the HEMS standard would help there too. They might have a need for their first apartment to pay the rent. They might have educational expenses. They might have job training or health expenses. So that's where the HEMS standard will guide the trustee in using the money set aside by mom that she initially intended just to protect from her own long-term care costs. Anything that the trust says goes to the grandchildren will be subject to the HEMS standard. So this way, by having these kinds of distribution standards, and there are more specific or strict standards, such as only for education expenses, or only if they meet certain benchmarks. So for in the instance of addiction, you could set up all kinds of controls. They have to do the following things to demonstrate that they're staying healthy, staying clean and sober, and so forth. So you can have more strict distribution standards, but most often we use the HEMS standard because it's a guiding principle so that the money you set aside in trust will not be spent frivolously. It won't be subject to the children's creditors. and it will be managed well so that it allows you to exert a little more control where your family circumstances require that level of control. If you have questions about how you might be able to use a trust to protect for your own costs in the future and to protect even when you're gone, how your children or other people will receive money and how it will be used, please get in touch. I'd be happy to talk you through your family circumstances and how a trust might help. You can leave a question or a comment to this video or email me at info@keystoneelderlaw.com.